Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Oh, that was welcome to the Santa Bernardino Union District workshop for August 26, 2026. I'd like to call this meeting to order. And if we can start off with a roll call, please.
Just a second.
Okay, I think Cindy's on there.
We need to be able to see her.
Oh, see her? Oh, I see. Okay. Does she have to have her camera on?
Mhm.
Oh, Cindy, can you put your camera on, please? Just because we need to be able to see you. Cindy, can you put your camera on, please? Just for the intro.
I have my camera on and I don't know if you guys could hear me though.
Yeah, we can hear you. We just can't see you, though. But I do see that the camera is unchecked. So I'm assuming.
It says it should be working, but
Yeah.
it's not.
You want to log out and log back in and see if that'll fix it?
It doesn't give me the option for a video. It just gives me the mic. That's
Oh,
all.
got it. Okay.
So it
Okay.
doesn't give me an option for me to
See
put
here.
a video. Just the mic.
Cindy, they're working on it, making sure that you have permission on our side for the video as well.
There you go. Okay. Hi,
There we
there.
go.
Okay,
Thank
there
you.
we go.
Okay. I'm going to do roll call and I'm going to start with Miss Cindy Lopez, who is joining us from home. She's having a family illness emergency. And so under Brown Act compliance, she's joining us visibly and audibly via Zoom. Miss Sarah
Present.
Turner,
Present?
Mr. Neil Patel,
Present.
Ms. Alvariano, Mr. Jacob Sandoval.
Present.
All members are present.
Okay, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the
Of
United
the United States of America. To the
States.
republic which is one nation under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Can I get a motion to approve the board agenda?
Motion to approve?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion 5-0.
Okay. Today in closed session items, we have a conference with real property negotiators. And do we have any public comment regarding closed session items?
We do not.
Okay, can I get a motion to adjourn to closed session?
Motion to adjourn to closed session?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion 5-0.
Okay, see everybody afterwards. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Santa Rita Union School District Board Workshop. Nothing was voted on in closed session, so there's nothing to report out. We're going to move on to items 5.1 to 5.4, approval of consent agenda items. Can I get a motion to approve?
So motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion 4-0. We don't have Cindy connected yet.
Okay.
We have to be able to see her.
Okay. Moving on to reports and correspondence. Any comments from SRTA?
We do not.
No? Okay. CSEA?
We do not.
Moving on to the board and the superintendent. Start off with Ms. Sarah Turner.
Nothing to report.
Okay. Mr. Neil Patel?
Good, thank you.
Ms. Alvariano?
I went back to school now. Again, the JP and the Gavilan U. And I also stayed for the presentation of that right there. Yeah, that was very interesting. Yeah, the only thing is that I wish there had been more parents.
Oh, your mic. Sorry, your mic.
Oh,
Sorry.
sorry. I wish there would have been more parents there, but maybe during the year or in the next couple of months, we might be able to get some of the kids. And as long as we also give a safety report for the kids. And I want to walk that, I am, as soon as it's done and ready to go, I do want to go and check it out and see how safe it really is. Because the kids have to cross 3 crosswalks.
Short, yeah.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, we've had several community meetings, and so we've had lots of parents at all of them. So I think this was kind of
Good.
just those last few that haven't
Right.
been
Oh,
to some
good.
of them. So I think this is our this was our 4th or 5th community meeting.
Oh, nice.
that we've had,
I
yeah.
did not know, but that
Yeah.
is great. Good.
Okay, thank you. For myself, I attended both back to school nights. So it was great to see the staff and students come back, and it seems like there's a lot of excitement. So that's all I have to report. Superintendent.
Our last back to school night is tomorrow night at Santa Rita Elementary at 5:30.
So it got switched?
No.
I thought it was last week.
No, that was McKinnon.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, good. Thank you.
Is there any public comments regarding non-agenda items or any public comments regarding agenda?
Yes, the
items?
board received a public comment via email by a 5th grade teacher at New Republic regarding class sizes today.
Do we want to read it to the record or
No,
no?
we-
Okay.
We don't, we've
Needs-
read
okay.
those to the board.
Okay,
Yeah.
sounds good. Okay, we're going to move on to information discussion item, district-wide facilities, projects and planning.
Okay. Our goal a couple years ago was to have a facilities focused workshop annually. We had a transition with our CBO and then our director of MOTF. So we're having it a little later than we had it on the calendar the previous year, but getting us back into that cycle. And it's not a bad time to do so because we're wrapping up our modernization project at Gavilan View before we move on to our first stage of the modernization project at La Jolla's campus. Of course, the first phase of those is always to get the classroom spaces upgraded, and then we can circle back to do next phases. Dawn Barry is our architect with Finney Architects. And I was going to get it. But he's also functioning right now as our project manager for our modernization project here at the Gavilan View campus. He's done some renderings for us because one of the things that the board moving forward that we have to consider as a district is when we do circle back to Gavilan View, of course, and Debbie's here with us too to talk about the funding piece of it, because as we knew, we will have drawn down on our available bond funds when we move over to La Jolla to do their classrooms. And so as we're then in the cycle waiting for the state matching funds, which is still only a percentage of the project's total, but it is some back in our coffers. We can do a lot of things. We cannot do everything, right? But we also on our school campus here at Gavilan View on the 20-acre site, approximately 6 acres has been used by our local Bobby Sachs organization for many decades. And we have to make some hard decisions about whether or not we would impact those fields to be able to do more of the things that we envision for the school site, or if we are going to do fewer of those things and not impact those fields in the future. Ms. Turner had an interest in really talking about the phasing plan and the reality of if something is really important to us, that we also discuss the fact that that may mean that we're making an agreement that we are going to put away as much funding as we can over the years, and that that project that we're looking at, being realistic and saying that may actually be 9 years out, but that we're committed to doing it. And then at the end of the year, when we are finding funds that are available, that we are agreeing that is a direction that we want at least a percentage of it to go, because we're committed to doing something. And so getting a more realistic view over this and sort of moving forward. So Dawn's going to take us through our current modernization project, and the one that we did some really important infrastructure work to prepare it for to be our next one over the summer is La Jolla. And then we can talk our placemat, as Victor used to call it.
So we've got the Gavel Review project that's moving very smoothly. The Gavel Review project is moving smoothly. We're scheduled to be complete at the end of October, and we are on target for that. To be optimistic, we might be a week or two early. Like I said, everything's moving smoothly. They're finishing up, they're getting all the concrete in. We're going to have landscaping going in soon. So like I said, it's on target. It's moving well. So I think that's all I've got for the Gavilan View update itself.
Did you do the one in Gavilan View? Oh, I'm sorry.
It's on.
It's on.
Oh, sorry.
Were you the one that did also the Gavilan View cafeteria?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I remember you now. Okay, just wanted to.
Any questions or comments from the board?
It's looking good.
Thank you.
You know, it's on time.
Mhm.
You
Yeah,
know, it's quite effective use of the space.
yeah, it's,
Like how it creates a campus environment,
thank you.
you know, and nice, lots of places to sit and hang out. You know, and I like the structural elements of it.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, it was,
So,
Yep.
yeah,
Thank
I
you, sir.
think it's moving on time. I'm glad to see it's possibly getting done early. I love the campus environment, look of it, the feel of it. When I saw it from the outside, wow, it reminds me of a collegiate setting.
Thank you.
With lots of open space,
Yeah.
a lot of sitting space, you know, and so very inviting and open. So far, I've been pretty impressed.
Like, so on the map that you're sharing with us here, so it would potentially be like wing 6, 7A, 7B. That's the area that we're looking at.
Yes, that's what we've been calling it.
Okay.
yeah, it was really nice for back to school night. Melissa was going to escort us over there, but she got distracted over there. But it looks really nice. I really love it. I think it's,
So, so as far as, okay, so it's completed, and then from there, what are the steps to like transition after that?
For
Or,
classroom use.
yeah, for classroom use and so, yeah.
So
For the timeline for transitioning, once it's all completed and everybody has come out and signed off on it. So when we say that the project is going to be on time for like an October finish, that's what we mean.
Okay.
That we would be able to say, here's your date that you get to move in. Originally, it was November that we were planning on. And so over time, Connor's team has managed to move up some of the more time consuming work to get us where we're at. And we're at the point right now where we are hoping weather holds, that there's nothing that would impact our landscape architects coming in and doing those pieces. They're to the point with the exterior of the buildings that they're finishing that and getting ready to do like painting and that kind of layer, right?
Yeah, so they'll finish up all the concrete work and then they'll start doing the painting. They've got interior finishes and casework that they've got to do, which should be coming in the next, I think it's next week or two. So yeah, so we'll get all that done and have the contractor out of those buildings, hopefully middle of October. That's our goal.
And then so teachers would potentially transition or move in.
Towards the end of October, November, we'll work with them
course, yeah.
really on like dates and when that would work best for them. Because the rooms that they're currently using, this wing 8 and 9 that you can see on this front page of the map in the light blue, they're still functioning, they're operating, and so it at least alleviates the pressure of like hurry up and move into those rooms. We can schedule the demolition of those based on once everybody is moved over. So because they're in an isolated area, at least it doesn't impact our like timeline on getting students out of there so that we can demo it, which was one of the beneficial pieces of doing the building the way that we did, that we didn't have to do a demolition in the middle of the project and move some of our students over. It's something that when we get to La Jolla, we'll be able to mirror as well, that we'll actually build the new rooms. It takes the emergency pressure of moving out of rooms that need to be demoed midway. So that we'll be able to do sort of a mirror of that when we get to La Jolla, so that we'll build in one area, move students over, then demolish the older rooms.
And remind me, how many classrooms are in there? You mentioned
So I was gonna
17?
ask.
No,
No,
it's,
12?
nobody's ever.
no, it is, I want to say it's 11 classrooms and a flex lab.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the flex lab is a class and a half size.
Yeah, that's-
Are we doing, and if we're not, I'd like to have something either like a ribbon cutting or something, just kind of
Yes, we
introducing
will.
it.
Mhm.
And I don't know, like maybe see if there's anybody that's, I know there's like a lot of social media influencers as far as saying like a lot of excitement to build. Like, did you know that new classrooms are coming to Gavilan View?
Yeah.
You know, to kind of do something along that
We'll
line.
do that.
Okay.
2 questions. On here, it has proposed building. Is that blue gymnasium?
We will come back to this map. I was just using it to illustrate where those
Okay.
demolished classrooms will be. But one of the good things when we get down to, okay, we're getting ready to move in, is we actually have all of our classroom furniture here in the district. We've been storing it. So if we didn't buy it right then when they had it available, we were concerned that we would wait too long and they would say, oh, that's back ordered. Which happens quite often, right? If you wait until a school year starts, you're trying to order furniture and so is everyone else. So Debbie was actually able to get everything set up in time, working with Victor. It was one of the last things that he did, which was find the budget in the previous fiscal year and have the furniture delivered in that fiscal year so that we were able to have it here on site, ready to be put together and installed into the classroom. So we wanted that last phase when everybody's ready to be moving as quickly as we could make it move. So
Awesome.
And do teachers know who's gonna go back there? I mean, what grade level?
I'm staying out of that conversation, but yes, because they are talking amongst themselves at Gavilan View and they have a plan. The idea being for that flex lab is that that's not necessarily a singular departmental space, that it's a multi-user creative space for students. It will have higher lab-like tables. So if they're going to do things like with soldering irons and things like that, that will have the vent
Files.
hoods so that they can do those pieces. But that it also has the flexibility to move those tables around so that if they are bringing in something like a 3D printer, and maybe it's some students who are in a visual arts program, and so they have that there and they want to get in there and use that, because technically that's kind of also engineering, right? And so making it a true STEM space. And then one of our things on our phasing plan actually at John Gutierrez, because we ended up with some net classroom space, is circling back to at the end of their 300 wing is a larger classroom, about, if you will, a classroom and a half in size, used to be their old computer lab. And being able to convert that into their flex lab in the future. so that they would also have a space like that to do more of the visual art pieces there. They have the robotics lab, but being able to also have that near their arts classes and things. But for some of like, you may have a social studies teacher who wants to get in and do some of those kind of more project-based learning, that they can reserve that space.
Nice, good.
My one concern is, always technology in terms of making sure that that's in place, active, ready to go, whether it's the Wi-Fi, whether it's the ViewSonic, all the tools. We always seem to be able to sometimes delay in getting all that implemented and installed, so, have a ready to go classroom with tech ready to go as well.
I can say that Krisha and Hussam have also worked very closely with Jesus and Dawn this whole time to make sure that the classrooms will be up and running infrastructure wise on day one. So
Perfect.
that's also in the same timeline.
Thank you for that reassurance.
Summer, were you gonna say something? Oh, okay.
Jacob.
Oh,
Jacob.
Cindy? Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Just Melissa, just going off of what Jacob had said, just a suggestion for like a ribbon ceremony cutting for once we open, but also you know how we tend to have our spotlight on our certain of our school sites. What if we could also have JV that day come in? That way we have some parents and some teachers kind of be part of that. I don't know, it's just a thought that I think would be nice and make it like a spotlight for them to come and share, anything that they're going to share when that does happen.
I love that idea.
Yeah, I think that's a
I
good
do.
idea, if it's possible, yeah. I think part of it is to get the community excited, so when we have to ask for funding or bonding again, it's like there's.
And we did include that in our KSBW start of the school year. Also, that was a big piece of it, showing that that's there. So it's out there. So it'll be nice to do that big. Now it's done.
It would be nice to the, ribbon cutting ceremony, asking some local dignitaries, maybe Mr. Rivas, get some state representatives here for future help as well.
All right. Do we want to go ahead and start having our conversation about
Yeah.
future
I'm ready.
of the Galvin View site?
I'm ready.
So just some history. Our agreement with Bobby Stocks has been going on for a long time. It's really important to our community. And as you know, like we've worked really hard during construction to try to make sure that they had access to the fields. Always letting them know. So when I onboarded a superintendent, reaching out to them to say, we may, with the construction that we need to do at this school site, if we are really being expansive, impact the fields, and we want to be able to give you years in advance, if that's the case. And so because it does take up, as you can see in the rendering here, it's 6 acres. And what it does is it keeps us from being able to put in a regulation size track, even a nice DG track. It's getting the circumference that we need for that. But again, it's really important to our community. And so it's really what direction do we want to take? Dawn also did a rendering of the 2 gymnasiums at the middle school so that we can see what the differences are. Because when we did the kitchen remodel, we lost the stage in the NPR here at Gavilan View, because that's now the kitchen. But some of the square footages and pieces there, because if we can go to the 3rd page that looks like this, I think that's an important part guiding our conversation and determining whether or not we want to move forward with a separate gymnasium facility at Gavilan View and a track, because to do both of those things, we will have to impact Bobby Stocks.
So can I start it off,
Yes.
Mr. President?
Yes, sir.
All right, so after reviewing both options and the various placements and the comparative design of the both gymnasiums. First of all, I always like to go back to my motto of equity. You know, what we have on one side should be equitable to all. At Gavilan, at JG, we have a dedicated track. Here we have some mitigating factors regarding the Bobby Shock field. I liked option 2, where we're trying to mitigate both issues, and you have the track, and yet Bobby Shock still has relevant fields available for their use. Yes, it's not 4, but our primary responsibility is to our students. To me, that's secondary. And if I can mitigate one with the other and still accommodate both to a certain degree, that's the option I would choose. So for me, going with option 2, having the field, yes, Bobby Sachs fields are reduced from 4 to 2, but they would still have that access. So for me, that would be the better option in terms of equity and making sure that both sites have a dedicated track. Having said that, regarding the positioning of the gymnasiums, yes, we use for our PE, but it'll also be used when we have sports contests, correct? And so for me, where would be the logical place to put that in terms of visiting teams? I don't want to put it at the farthest corner of the property from the parking lot. I think when I'm looking at option A, where it is near the center and close to the existing classrooms, my other issue is time it takes from students to get from classroom to gymnasium for PE and back. And so for logistics of visiting teams, logistics in terms of movement of students, I personally like option A in terms of positioning. The last point I had to make was the size of the gymnasium. Yes, one is wider than John. Was there an issue in terms of length? The reason I say that, because I'm always in gyms, basketball, that.
This is their current facilities.
Yeah. Oh.
It's comparing what they currently have for their NPR. They each have what's called a gym/multi-purpose room.
Yeah.
It's to give the idea in the difference in the size.
So what would be the proposed size?
We wanted equity. Like
Yeah.
that was the goal, that basically.
So this image is of what?
So this is current.
Yeah,
And basically what we would want, our theory is we want something similar
exactly.
over
Yeah,
over
with
here.
this and with the stage.
With this, yes.
One piece of clarifying information, I was able to do some research. So the basketball courts at Gavilan View are middle school regulation size. The basketball courts at John Gutierrez are high school size. I'm not sure and how that came about, but that equates the difference in the court sizes between the two schools. They each have a kitchen. What you really lost here is the stage when we did the kitchen. The concern, of course, which kind of in facilities a little bit, is if we're building a second standalone gymnasium at one middle school and we're leaving the other with a multi-purpose gym, are we now creating inequity between the two middle schools in a really big way? What we cannot do, just because of building location, we cannot remodel the current NPR. We cannot add on, we cannot make any additions to it. As you can see, all of the electrical infrastructure is right there and you can't move that. It's for the whole site. So there's no way to expand that to like put a stage back in there. We lost that when they remodeled and created the kitchen.
I personally am okay with the difference as long as the court size is the same, as long as there's a stage. You know, I'm okay with living with the mitigation of yes, one's a multi-purpose, one is dedicated. But for me, you know, once again, it's equity, making sure. So once again, just to clarify, the proposed gym will be court size, the same size as JG, correct?
Yes. Yes. What we're looking at is matching it.
Okay.
With the box you see is sort of assumed right now of what a program would include, which would be the gymnasium stage, some restrooms, some miscellaneous storage stuff. We haven't gotten much more detailed on what would go in there just yet,
Okay.
but that's what we've
I mean,
planned for.
I have several things that I wanted to say. Like, One, we absolutely campaigned on this. We went to the public, told them that that was one of the things that we were going to do with the bond money was build a gym. It turns the bond money is just not going to stretch that far. Prices being what they are, it's not our fault. Wasn't intentional, but I don't feel comfortable going out for another bond for like a new school or something else when we have this big ticket item that we promised the public that we would deliver that we've not delivered. So that's a huge issue to me. The other issue is just I've literally had things where I went to a band concert at Gavilan View one night and I went to a concert at JG like the next night, and just the comfort in the room in terms of seating, room for families, ability to see the kids, just night and day from one another. So the kids at Gavilan View, the families there, they deserve to be able to see when they can they deserve to be able to fit more families in the room. They deserve to be able to see their children when they're doing those different activities, whether it's a sporting event or choir or whatever it is. So, thank you, Miss, thank you, Melissa, for bringing this forward in terms of, it's real money that we're going to have to talk about and really have a plan for, but it is something that I feel very strongly, if we have the support of the board, that we need to pursue this. My feeling regarding the fields, I would prefer,
Option one.
I am okay with option 2 in terms of putting in a regulation size track. It makes sense to me in terms of the, sports matter for children's lives, and they matter in terms of like how the community feels about a school. And we need to be able to have equitable programs at both places. I'm happy to have Bobby Sox, be able to have 2 fields there. I'm also happy to see if we can work with them and say, what other spaces are available that we can, talk about what their needs are. Because as Mr. Patel said, our priority has to be the daily instruction of our children.
I promised Julie Johnson that I would represent the following statement here at the board meeting, that she said, if we're trying to do the things, right, and we're really looking at a gym, if there's a way, even if we forewent having a track and not impacting Bobby Sox, that she'd like the board to consider that. So she's, and
So
Can we get clarification on that? When you say not impacting, impact
Not
in terms of
having-
eliminating it completely? Or are they talking, hey, we need all 4 fields? Or are they saying, hey, keep us at least 2?
they are advocating, Bobby Sox themselves are advocating to maintain those 4 fields in that location, not move 2 fields, not move 2 fields to anywhere else, that we could assist them with conversations with people, that they want to maintain status quo. Julie called and said, I know you guys are talking about this. If you could just let the board know that if I had to give up something, it would be a track in order to not impact that. That is Miss Johnson. But I mean, we have a campus of teachers, and again, this is also talking about timeline and funding. And so being able to tell Bobby Sox, you have 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, 8 years before we circle back, and give them that like expanded timeline and say, by this date, this is what the district will be doing. At least we'd be able to give a hard deadline. I think that would be important if we're going to impact their fields at all.
Okay.
So Julie wants, she likes option 1.
No, I think my reading is that if she is asked to choose between a gym and a track, she is picking a gym. If she can have both, my understanding is that she and the rest of the teachers would like to have both.
I feel like she personally has had a change of heart there, but she said it's her personal opinion. I said I will deliver that.
The track we have at John Gutierrez, is that a
Middle school size.
middle
Yeah.
school size? Okay. And the one that we see here would be
Middle school.
middle school size. Okay.
Mhm.
And what is the middle school size track?
It's a good question.
It's still a 400 meter track or
440.
quarter mile track.
440, yeah.
So it would be 4 is a mile or?
Quarter
Yeah,
mile.
quarter
Quarter
mile.
Yeah,
mile.
one lap is a quarter mile.
Okay. And what do we have right now around the Bobby socks? The same or?
The shape of it and designation means that it's not used for competition. PE can run it and they can calculate time wise what their mile is, but they don't use it for competition where you would use a track.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then between option A and B, what's the thought process between the two? Like, is it B would just give us more potential?
Just
Concrete or space?
how we, either way,
Yeah.
we'll expand the blacktop out. Really, it was more about like just envisioning that in different possible locations.
Okay.
That wouldn't certainly necessarily, however many years from now, be the final location of it. But the idea being it's of a size and where we have available to move that.
Okay. Is that basketball courts would go in that blacktop area?
The darker expands out the blacktop in basketball courts. Yeah.
Okay. So based off of this, we need the black spot for basketball courts either way. So it looks like that's going to impact the Bobby Sox regardless if we're going to do a gym.
Yeah.
And so I do think we do need a gym only because we need a stage. I think part of the student development and kind of where they see themselves in the future with music, drama. Like I want to in the future, long term, build those programs because that's also an avenue for their own success in life as they get to high school and to college, kind of those spaces. I know it's a challenging part because I think the Bobby Sox, I think what needs to happen, I think probably hasn't happened is a conversation with them. It's like, where else can we find 2 fields for you to have that space, you know?
We worked on that conversation a few years ago.
Mhm.
We had talked to them about, could you locate 2 of your fields at John Gutierrez? And we could help maybe facilitate a conversation with the farmer whose property is backing there. And then they could work on getting road access on the back side of the campus because at that point, John Gutierrez is landlocked, if you will.
Yeah.
And so that they would have enough time to be able to engage in those conversations. Or if they wanted to try to stay in this location, trying to help facilitate getting them in contact with the county, who does have a development plan for the farm that is around and adjacent
that.
to John Gutierrez. And we were never able to get everybody at the table.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I think because I've seen other school districts, because to being part of LULAC, I have members that are school board members in other parts of the state. And over time, they've been able to build programs once they expand their track and their auditoriums and their drama. So I really envision that because I guess part of what I see here long term as our goal as a board is increasing the student experience. So when they get to high school or to college, it kind of helps them get to like another level, right? So if somebody starts track, it's like, yeah, at my middle school, we did have a regulation quarter track that allowed me to kind of gain that and that kind of build on that. So I think having competitions in that. So I think, and hopefully we'll get some leadership within Bobby Sox that is able to find a solution. And I think that it's a public meeting, so we definitely want to find a solution, but at the same time, our mission, our goals of our Santa Rita district is, you know, to create better student experience, help them develop their skills. And I think the way to make that happen is with having the gymnasium and also the track and stuff. So I think that'd be the direction that I'd want to go with as well.
I don't, timeline wise, I don't envision us, I imagine when we switch and we move to La Jolla is going to take us, by the time we're finished for those initial classrooms, approximately 2 years from when we really get in there and start to buttoning up everything, getting everything operating and running. If we linger at La Jolla to go ahead and demo those portable classrooms to give them a second entrance, because they are really impacted by only having the one entrance for both parent pickup and drop off and buses, that as a school that has a good portion of both car riders and bus riders, much like McKinnon or New Republic, not having a second entrance where one can be designated for buses and one for cars for pickup drop off. There with being on Bolenbacher and Rogie Road, and it with the 3 schools on the road, not having an entrance there, all the pressure at that 3-way, 4-way-ish kind of stop is really becoming greater and greater now that we've got Rancho San Juan fully operable and student drivers and all of those things. And then envisioning the development, I'm imagining it's going to be a little longer because we'll have to get in there and do a new parking lot and everything after we do the demolition before we would potentially be coming back here, knowing that ideally the West area specific development will have started kicking off sometime in that frame. And we would be also pursuing what we were going to do in that area for new schools on a timeline for when those houses are being built. So potentially determining also with Debbie Campbell at the far end of the table, knowing that bond funds will not be paying for this, that the district would have to be looking at savings. So the amount of time, and it's really about what the board at this point wants to commit to and saying by 10 years from now, we want to have funding saved up to be able to do both of these things at Gavilan View. And then if we're able to give Bobby Sox that timeline and say, this is how long, and let our community know this is how long. And if there's connections that we can help them make to pursue being able to turn 2 fields to a park side, if that's being developed and there's green space on the other side, then it's 2 on our side, 2 on a park side, and we're able to help those conversations in the next 8 years, that we'd be open to doing that kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah, and just in terms of, obviously, I want to pursue this. The gym even more so than the track. Because money does not fall from the sky like we would wish that it did. Before we started this whole process with the bonds, we talked about maintaining a 17% reserve. My request would be that we look at what is our estimated cost if we did this in 5 years? What's our estimated cost if we did this in 8 years? And then talking about setting aside the appropriate part of that 17% towards building the gym, in terms of not taking away from basically sort of budgeting as we have been budgeting, but earmarking it for this specific purpose so that we're not putting money towards this that otherwise would have been going to the classroom. That, you know, that money is, you know, for things that we need. This kind of, to me, follows under the things that we need, and we could talk about timelines in terms of like what section of that percentage, if you will.
So it sounds like that's the direction. I don't know if we need to do a motion, or is this direction in general that you need?
It's really for this, it's no action. It's just what direction the board would like us to consider. Do you have a timeline threshold that you're like, you know, by the end of year 8, I want to see that we've saved up enough and we're moving on this? I mean, it plays into every bit of what we do, right? Like our reserve, where are we putting money, you know, what money is available for teachers, classroom staff, all of those things. And goodness forbid we have a big economic downturn, and then it's a conversation that always gets revisited in emergency circumstances. So I just want to put that out there as a caveat, which we would do. We would never be fiscally irresponsible with it. We would never forego doing something for students right now because we're like, oh,
Yeah. You know,
But I guess part of it is knowing, like, let's say we say 6 years, 8 years, I think, without knowing the cost and how much we have to put away.
yeah, it's,
It'd be tough for me to say, I mean, ideally I'd want this in sooner than later, right? But obviously, what's feasible, right? I don't know how would we
Sure.
guide that conversation to know what is a realistic
well,
number of years?
can I just,
Yeah.
just a little insight. You know, it's a double-edged sword. The longer you wait, the more the costs go up.
Mhm.
The shorter you wait, you got to come up with the money faster. given both scenarios, I think the projection would indicate you go for sooner rather than later with the obvious opportunity. And if you couldn't, you could always go longer later on. But I think the initial target would be sooner rather than later. Which you can always extend. But I think once again, it's a double-edged sword. You know, the longer you're gonna wait,
Costly.
the amount of savings you're gonna have in that longer time period might be negated by the increased
Mhm.
cost of additional construction costs, you know? So if you're gonna go for projections, whether it's 6 to 8 or whatever, I would say projected the shortest that you're comfortable with. as a
Right
group.
now, the projection for expanding the blacktop and building a gym and doing the track is approximately 15 million.
So can we,
Would we do that in two phases? So do the track, the blacktop first? a shorter time frame?
Potentially we could, yeah.
Yeah, so have a shorter time frame on that portion.
on which portion?
On the track, I mean, I'm sorry, the gymnasium first, right? That would be the shorter time frame, and the longer time frame would be the track.
The gymnasium will be the more expensive part. The track will be the lesser cost.
But the construction cost going up would be higher on the gymnasium over time than it would be on the field.
Mhm.
So I concur with you. But to me, it's, you know, put them both in one bag. I don't think the cost of the field as a percentage of the cost of the gym would be, you know, I think less than 10%, 5%. Could be wrong.
So if it's 15 million, what's potentially a feasible amount that we could realistically save to be able to do that?
Or how long?
Everybody's like, Debbie.
Okay, we have a 30 million roughly budget, correct? Roughly. 17% reserve of that, you're looking at, you know, 4 to 5 million. And you want to maintain that over time. So you can feasibly maybe do 1 to 2 million out every year at the most. So you're looking at 2 million out a year at the most, you're looking at 7 years.
Mm.
7 to 8.
That's about right.
Okay.
And
While maintaining a.
I was gonna say, and I didn't have a problem going 3 if, you know, and stretching it. But
Yeah, no, I'm just, you know, once again, you know, I understand your concern about maintaining. I'm a big, you know, believer in maintaining a healthy reserve, you know. But if you have to reduce it a little bit to,
yeah, that's what I,
this is a promise we made to the taxpayers, you know, so be it. For me, I'd be comfortable with the 7-year timelines and then extend it if needed.
It's also important to note that part of what we're doing with our ongoing ending fund balance is making sure that we're putting money away for those deferred maintenance projects that we had brought forward that we had just kind of kept putting off because there was always something bigger. But there are rooms that need new carpet. There are, you know, this blacktop needs a resurface. We've got like some roof and gutter repairs and things that also need to take place. And while those are in the hundreds of thousands each year, right? That's another thing that we are committed to continuing to make sure we're putting that aside so that we're keeping those projects, the ones that aren't big enough for the placemat, but they're bigger than like our internal work. So.
Yeah, and I think I'm just thinking the last couple of years, there's a lot of stuff that got fixed.
Yeah.
That it's gonna be like, okay,
Exactly.
we're gonna be in a much better position in a couple of years, you know, because we're not gonna have to deal with it anymore. Like I'm sure
So-
like the replumbing was.
so not looking at this fiscal, but thinking about next fiscal year. If we had the idea, and 15 million is going to move as it goes, to basically sort of say, hey, our idea is that we're putting 3 million aside for, you know, the next 5 years to create that 15 million, and then looking at if we sort of keep our programs in place as they are, if we come up with a budget where the reserve is not 17%, but the reserve is 14% or 13%, is that something that the board feels comfortable that they could live with to maintain that $3 million number? It's still our money. I mean, it's not spent, it's just earmarked for something.
I'd feel comfortable with it. And the reason is the $15 million tag is now, correct?
Okay.
You're looking 7 years down, you're looking at, you know, cost of inflation, et cetera. It could balloon up to 18, maybe 20.
Mhm.
So I think what you're asking
Hopefully
for
we
is
hit a year where the
feasible,
prices just drop.
but I think then I'd be comfortable with that.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm good with that.
We can run some numbers and bring back more like hard numbers of what this looks like around here,
Mhm.
as well as kind of doing overtime cost projections for that. To give a better idea of like, if we project an increase based on this percentage and just hope for a windfall, right, in one direction or another.
Just
Money
surplus the
will
materials.
lower cost of supplies, right? So that we know, are we talking about at year 9, we've got this, or is it at year 10, we've got this visit to, and be able to give, I think, I'd like to be able to give Bobby Socks in our community a real timeline on this is how long,
Yeah.
that we have to figure out what we're gonna do because we need this, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know,
Thank
Don,
you.
when you design the gym, make sure you have our box club room seats on top.
Right?
For sure to do that.
Just want, just so we can oversee for safety.
Do we want to take a quick peek at La Jolla? With this wonderful rendering. And in the sort of tan color, you can see what I was talking about where the old classrooms are. That would actually become another entrance and parking lot and ability to sort of break up our traffic. Because as of right now, the one that is there on Bolenbacher, and Jacob, you drive Rogie Road enough to know how backed up that can get. And Jesus drives the bus just often enough to know how backed up that can get. And just general transportation, because it all is in that same space. Now, part of what will help is when MCOE's TIP program is finalized, which John will also be able to keep us updated along the way as that project is going. We have run our sanitary sewer. La Jolla is off of the septic tank,
No septic
which
tank.
they are not on a septic tank.
Oh.
So someone asked before school started, they said, are the toilets gonna flush? And I was like, better than ever. But and so we will need to abate the old septic tank, lest we leave a ticking time bomb for someone in the future, and I don't want that kind of time bomb. And so the MCUE TIP program right now is still slated to be done around the first of the new year.
Yeah, they're looking at the end of December to be complete.
Oh,
And that is like classroom 1, 2, 3, 4. Is that? No.
Yes, that
Yeah.
up here at the top corner, it's building 1, 2, 3, 4, and then they've got their office and restroom space. What will be nice about their parking lot areas is it will also capture the Head Start program that is there. So they'll be able to enter there off of that MCOE deeded property that we have the agreement with. Instead of needing to walk all the way across La Jolla's campus to do drop off
Yeah.
and pick up.
So
Mhm.
going back to the buildings that are being removed,
Yes,
whatever, 12 through 20, and that's where you want to envision a parking lot.
yes.
And that the main use would be for bus or drop off for parent.
John, did we designate as bus or parent up there?
For some reason, I seem to recall that was going to be the bus and we were going to leave
Yeah,
the
that makes
parents
more
on.
sense
Yeah.
because Rogie's already impacted. I can't imagine more parents going in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. That's gonna be a nightmare,
Because the way it is, we could do a deeper U, and I know the conversation was the turning radius that you would need for the buses,
Yeah.
we could do it there. Now, in facilities committee, we had shared also that envisioning where it shows the library building 3. Like if we consider the building of those new classrooms as phase 1, the parking lot phase 2, phase 3 would be to transition that library building 3 into the front office of La Jolla. And Norma Bazo was able to share that used to be the front entrance of La Jolla.
It was.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so I don't know at what point that changed over. Summer, were you a child in school here when that happened?
Address because
Yeah.
that used to be the front of the school. It's not Bolenbacher, but yes, I don't know when it switched over, but I remember when it was there because
Yeah.
that's when that's when Gavin View, before we opened here,
Mhm.
it was there because the back of La Jolla was
Yeah.
the middle.
Yeah, and that,
That's where I went to.
that little courtyard is where the entrance was.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yes.
I think it's a good plan.
So it used to be.
Yeah, I
uh,
think it'll be hugely more attractive with just,
Right here.
This is
you
the
know,
view
the
area.
original
This-
brick buildings. But
No, here is.
with the
Over.
new development coming in, the traffic is
Go in
only gonna
here.
get horribly worse. They're gonna get more kids at Rancho,
Inside.
potentially we're gonna have more kids at JG.
It was.
Yeah,
inside.
so
Yeah,
creating
because here's.
a
the box.
bus section there, I think makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, it used to be right here.
So just to kind of
Here.
give that very high
now it's-
view.
It's in front.
And I also appreciate having specific parking, like the TIP program, you're talking about children with major special needs, Head Start, you're talking about little tiny people. So having designated parking for our most needy children makes complete sense.
And because it is the county program, and that's the thing I think a lot of people don't realize, and lots of districts have different county programs where it's for a specialized program that a district may not be able to sustain that, but the county can. And so we have students who attend this program from all over the county. So they may be on a large bus from another district, a small bus, a van. And so it's all variety of vehicles coming in and serving that program. And we have students who attend other programs that are housed in other districts in the same. And so being able to kind of keep that partnership alive and going and being thoughtful about it and what their needs are. It's really-
Wow, so they used to have to park here and then walk all
Yeah.
the way across. Wow.
Yeah, all the way. No.
You mean back in the day?
Back in the day, there was no fencing around it, yeah, so
Okay.
we just walked.
And it was
Yeah.
open. They had a whole open field and then
Oh,
they
okay.
had a wooden structure.
Mhm.
It was.
And metal monkey bar.
Yeah,
Oh.
there you go.
Yeah.
And a
Good
metal-
old days.
And a metal
Metal
slide.
slide so you could get burned. Yeah.
Did they have a carousel too or no?
Yes, we had like,
Lovely.
the-
Torture device, number one. I like it.
Used to live right here. This is my house. And here's the front.
Good.
I used to walk the kids over here and then the entrance was right here. I know, it's just so different now.
So that's it for La Jolla. So just want to make sure. So what we're gonna do is run some numbers, look at our reserve, make some proposals there for the board in terms of that reserve use versus savings over time.
Mhm.
Do some cost projections for track, gym, blacktop work, circling back to GB, and then what that timeline looks like in that 8 to 10 year range with that cost projection as well.
Just remind me of something. I met a parent at the back to school night that
Yeah,
mentioned
we did.
about,
Oh, yes.
was it shade structures, but was it for
It was for,
McKinney? I'm not sure if it was for the,
it's shade for the structure.
for the TK or?
For the
TK.
TK, for the TK.
Kenton?
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know if that's
From
been a
the
concern.
kindergarten.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's been a concern with other sites as far as if it gets too hot and they say they can't play in that area, or
And
I
they,
was curious to walk by. It's just something that I just
I
remember.
know that when we had the other surface underneath it, that because remember it was kind of cupping up from being out in the heat and the sun. And so changing that out to the solid surface has helped a lot.
Mhm.
But we talked over time about being able to put up a shade structure out there. Because they don't have a lot of trees or anything
Yeah.
at McKinnon.
Mhm.
Especially in the campus, they're more ornamental.
Yeah.
But being able to look at doing that.
Yeah, because I know that'd be a lower cost item, so something to.
And we
consider.
know a shade structure is gonna be in that. Probably like $250,000 by the time you anchor it and everything.
Really that much?
Yeah, that's when you were like lower structure. I was like, no, we just put 4 up and it was
Yeah,
unfortunate.
wow.
kidding.
No.
Okay, that is a big ticket item. That is a
Big
big
ticket
ticket.
item, but safety is always first.
Mhm.
This
Yeah,
parent
but
said,
and it's it's not only the cost of it, it's the fact that we then open up the campus to like DSA looking at everything else on the campus when we're putting up the shade structure. So
Like,
you're doing bathrooms again, you're doing sidewalks again, all that stuff.
Because a parent said that they had put some of the kids in the shade. Well, one of them got really sunburned. And they had to take them to the office and, put that burn.
Now, what we did do when we had that stretch of really hot days last year is that we made sure that all of the elementary schools that needed them had additional pop-up structures.
Maybe
So,
that'll be
'cause
a
of
good.
course, those are temporary shade structures, and so you can have as many of those up as possible, right? Around and bring those down. But and thank you, Sarah, it involves DSA when you're putting in like a permanent structure, particularly of a particular size and where it's at with the building, and it's $250,000.
Jesus.
Yeah,
If you don't mind, just because it got brought up to us, parents checking in with the principal there and
for
staff,
sure.
just to
We'll
see
check
like,
in with
hey,
all of them and make
you know,
sure
that parent's brought a concern and yeah.
The shade structure, temporary, and then when it gets to the cold days,
Yeah.
take it down.
We set those up with MOT, so I'm sure.
They have them. That's what I'm saying.
They have
If they
them there.
found
That's what I'm
anything
saying. What we heard was
located
might be a little
elsewhere,
different.
yeah.
Should we can check in and say, hey, are they being utilized? Or are they having trouble putting them up? Or
Yeah, and making
does it happen? It could happen.
it absolutely, and were they put, kinder playgrounds are separate. So what was available at the kinder playground versus the regular playground too?
Thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah.
Thank
I
you.
never- I
No,
haven't
we'll
thought
look into
about
that this
it.
week, make sure they have them, because we're gonna have some warm days come up.
Yes.
Well, it got a little warmer today, but it was still kind of hazy. But I guess it'll be cooler again next week, and then it's supposed to be warmer again, so.
Yeah, we're so blessed. I mean, it gets like 80
Yes.
degrees in work.
Yeah.
Like I hear other people like 90s, 95s, 100s. I'm like,
This is where I go back. When I was in junior high in Central Florida, we didn't have air conditioning.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's
well,
true.
okay.
we were fighting to stay awake.
Anything else
Yeah.
we had to cover as far as this?
No, I
constantly?
think so.
Okay. So
That was good conversation.
Yeah. Our
Thank you.
next regular board meeting will be September 9th, 2026. Is there any suggested future board items?
Yeah, I would like to look at student to teacher ratios across every school, across every grade level.
You got it.
Also, the second item was the feasibility of looking into having robotics problems at robotics program at both sites. To start one up at GV to work in tandem with John Gutierrez.
Didn't we at one time talk about doing dual immersion?
We did,
Oh.
and we had it on the strategic plan.
Okay.
Maybe January workshop might be a time to revisit where the feasibility.
For sure.
And this isn't, I don't want to add an item, but I did really want to share, and it goes back to it real quick. I want to add an, I know, I don't. I just wanted to make sure in this meeting to let you know and to thank. So the Salinas Valley Community Church right there in the Bolson Olds area
Yes.
reached out, and they do a day of service project. And so I've been able to work with them, and they are going to help us redo the JG garden that was displaced during the construction. So they're, I reached out to a bunch of donors. They're supporting through their donations as well. We're not sure how much we'll be able to get done, but, poor Jesus.
I
we
will
worked
say
with-
this, that we purposely moved the location to where it was, and we purposely ran the water that
All
we
there.
needed to irrigate whenever that new little garden that they kept.
Yeah.
They had put in like a smaller, just sort of vegetable, plant, flower garden that they want to maintain. But the church generously offering to come in and assist with that, being able to get some planters and rows and more
Yeah,
fencing back
we
up. But
put-
we
yeah,
have
we-
our water ready for
The
that.
science department made a list of what they're hoping for. They'll help us do whatever they can. But
Which church is this? Okay.
Oh, no, is it still?
Hmm?
Yeah, the Salinas Valley Church, the one
Off of San Juan.
off of San Juan, that big church.
Oh, the one, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, the one looks like a huge.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it still called the Tom Spencer Garden, or did we?
That's
away
this
from
one
that?
here at GV. That's the big
Oh,
science
Okay,
garden.
okay.
Yeah.
And the one we're.
This
talking
one's
about-
more, it's more of like what our elementary schools tend to
Right.
have a garden. Yeah.
it's a pretty big space. My retired
Yeah.
husband got to go out and measure because Jesus is super busy, so he had nothing to do. So I was like, can you go measure the space out? So, yeah. Do you know anybody else? We've sent out a bunch of donation letters, but if
Yeah.
anybody's listening and would like to donate, we will accept your donation as well.
That would be nice.
Did you email
Um,
something? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so Home Depot.
I'll look out.
Costco already gave us a gift card. Home Depot, Lowe's, Bouquet Nursery out here, or Bouquet Nursery on 68. I can't remember what this
And
was.
Lowe's was really helpful with McKinnon's garden
Yeah.
with like some planters and I think their little garden shed that they
Yeah.
have year before
Granite,
last.
Granite, several people plus contacts that they have within their.
Okay, can you email us the list?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Mhm.
Okay, Cindy?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I know that when we were going on for around my, I don't know what I pressed, but I had to log off and log back in. But anyways, I also was with you guys in the back to school night. But the one thing I wanted to share with you guys is that I also attended the executive council meeting, and you guys should have received an email. I think it went out yesterday, and it's just to hear back from. They want, you know, all the trustees if they could go ahead and it's a. They sent out an email for a survey of work board shops that they're planning on putting together, and to get the feedback of everyone. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. If you guys could look at your emails, the survey should have gone out. And would love to hear your guys' feedback of what would be something that would be beneficial for them to put on.
Real quick announcement. You just reminded me, Cindy, I had shared with the trustees that as of this July, it's required for school board trustees to take the mandated reporter training via Keenan. If you are actively in a position now where you already take that training, a copy of your certificate.
I emailed my certificate
Perfect.
to Amy today. She's said she.
And that's all we would need for that. You don't have to take it twice. But that's required now as well. And then we will look into when our trustees and now me need to take the ethics training. So it's every other year on that one, but it's new for superintendents to take that this year. And so I know I'll need to take it as of January. And so making sure that you all are caught up with that as well, based on when we did that last time.
And you know, at that meeting that I went to for that roundabout, they did say, and I didn't get a flyer, but you now in the DMV have to take, you have to be able to, you have to be able to answer those questions. That's new.
And what he was saying is that the new building structure or road construction structure is everything's a roundabout and they have to be convinced why not. So the initial plan for everything is to have a roundabout, and whoever's doing it, development would have to prove why not to have a roundabout. Whereas before it was like, why should we? That it's switched. And so that's the.
But next time you guys go get your driver's license, you better know that all those rules.
I think they need to teach the whole nation.
Yeah.
What does the word yield mean
Yes, exactly.
in all circumstances?
Marina's still working on it. I live in Marina. We've had roundabouts for a minute and you do get used to it,
Mm.
but then you get angry at people doing it incorrectly.
Don't follow the rules.
Stop in the middle of the circle.
Well, they were
Yeah.
doing the four-way stops incorrectly before they were doing the roundabout. So
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah.
Okay, can I get a motion to adjourn at 7:32?
So motion,
Second.
Oh, that's okay. Go ahead.
arm wrestle. I'm looking. for it.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Cindy, is that a yes?
Yes.
Ma'am, motion 5-0.
Okay, have a nice evening, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.